Welcome to a bit of Trump time where we talk about the great man and, well, the push towards 4 more years. The countdown is on, November 2020, and plenty to talk about with Christian Ziegler from the GOP, that's the Republican Party in Florida, and he joins us now from that beautiful orange country now. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Paul?
Good. So the Democrats, look, we know that they're going to be racing as hard as they can towards impeachment, an attempt to tip him out of office. It's not going to happen because the Senate isn't going to go along with it. But it is worth talking about the process that they are trying to build around this impeachment process, because it is pretty disgraceful about what they're willing to do behind closed doors and then how they characterise the conversations behind closed doors to justify the removal of a president, well, basically a year out from an election.
No, you are exactly right, Paul. So what's going on in Washington is completely shameful. It's a charade by the Democrats. It's not a legitimate process. We elect members of Congress to go up to Washington to represent us, and they are up there, and they're not even getting access to the evidence, to the testimony. They're not able to cross-examine witnesses. Donald Trump can't have any representation in the room. This is a complete charade, and this is a show put on by the Democrats to try to take the president out of office. I mean, we saw at the very beginning, you know, they started with this Russia stuff and then the Mueller report, and now they're looking into this. And look, the transcripts are out. We don't need any testimony. We don't need a process. People can make up their mind what the transcript says, and I think it's pretty clear that there's no quid pro quo in it.
Also, you know, again, I mean, there's this process where there's the military official who has been briefing behind the scenes as well. But again, I watch an awful lot of American television, and I know that there's two ways of reading all of this. But do you believe that it is all about the source document, or it's all about what people interpret about that conversation?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out, because, again, we are not having access to this process. We don't know who's talking to who. We don't know what they're saying. The president doesn't have a chance to respond. But it's interesting because some of the information that's come out, it's almost been hearsay. That's the evidence that they're using, that this person was told about the conversation by this person. But what's important to remember in all of this is the president put out the full transcripts. I mean, this president is about as transparent as you get as an elected official. He communicates directly with us with Twitter. He talks to the press probably 10 times more than any other president has. He's always commenting to them. You know, that's not good enough for the Democrats for some reason. But look, if it wasn't this, it would be something else by the Democrats. They're just trying to find a way to, because they can't accept the results of the 2016 election. Here we are 3 years, almost 4 years after the election, and they still won't accept the results. And I think the American people are tired of the political games. They're tired of Washington, and they're ready to move forward.
But also, I'm a great believer that this whole process is, look, you know, for them, the moonshot is being able to remove him from office. But the reality is that I think it's about putting pressure on half a dozen, maybe 4 GOP senators who are up for re-election at the next election, people in places like Colorado and Maine, where they think they will be able to put pressure on them and this person voted not to get rid of Trump. And these are states where potentially Trump is not as popular as he would be in other parts where Republicans are safer in the Senate. That, to me, feels what the entire process is actually about, which is hope he goes nuts and does something in trying to shut down the inquiry, and then that creates a problem. But more importantly, it's about pushing on the difference between being in the minority and majority in the Senate.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Look, the Democrats over here are completely ruthless. They will do everything to win at all costs. They're always unified. They stick together. They defend their own no matter how extreme they are. We saw that with Ilhan Omar and AOC. I mean, these Democrats are sticking together, and they're doing everything they can to take out the president. And I think you're right. One of the strategies is to get all of these Republicans that are in states that might be up for grabs, to get them on record, to get them, you know, addressing this issue. However, they have the same problem. They have a lot of House members that won Trump districts in 2016 that are now going to go on record here for this impeachment inquiry, and it's going to cause a whole lot of problems for them. I mean, we have a district like, for example, in Georgia, the 6th district, that's represented by an extremist Democrat. I grew up in that district, actually, and I think that's going to be a pickup for the Republican Party because they're pushing this impeachment stuff. Again, the American people, what do they want? They want jobs. They want border security. They want the respect for the rule of law. They want America first in the world stage. And the Democrats aren't giving that to them. The Democrats are giving them political games. And I think we see that with Congress's approval rating in Washington, D.C., that the American people are tired of it. They're ready to turn the page. They're ready to govern. And if the Democrats aren't going to do it, well, then let's send Trump some reinforcements in 2020.
What was that old song from the 80s? It cuts both ways with that.
Right.
Now, we know that the president got booed heavily at a baseball game in Washington. Gee, surprise, surprise, 90% of people in that particular part of the United States don't vote Republican. For anyone who missed it, here's another crack at it. All right. Why do you think this works for him?
Donald Trump won despite those people in that audience. Everyone in that audience paid over $1,000 for a ticket. They're all Washington lobbyists. They're bureaucrats. They're in these agencies. I mean, I'll remind everyone, in Washington, Donald Trump got 4% of the popular vote, just 4%, yet he won the election nationwide. And, these people inside the Beltway, it's the only place in America, Washington, D.C., where home prices consistently go up. Even if there's a recession, the home prices continue to go up because that's the beast, that federal bureaucracy that's feeding each other. And I will tell you, I'm not shocked. I would be proud if Washington, D.C. booed me, because those people in there are the problem. And that's who the American people sent to Washington. They sent Donald Trump to hold those individuals accountable, to press them, to squeeze their budgets, to get rid of regulations that they put in place to financially benefit. And Donald Trump's holding those people accountable. Well, they get in a stadium, and that's their chance to boo the president. And I think you see the president there embracing it, because he realizes that that is not everyday American. That is not Illinois. That's not Florida. That's not Ohio. That's not Michigan. Those people in there are inside a bubble that's completely out of touch. And I think that Donald Trump's doing a great job. And I'll also point out, they weren't just booing Donald Trump. He had service members with him in that box that they announced at the same time, and they were booing them. So I think it's shameful by the Democrats. The American people see through it. It is not representative of what's going on in the country, and you're going to overwhelmingly see that in 2020.
Good on you, Christian. I'll let you go there, mate, because we've got plenty to talk about back home. All the best for the next little while. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much, Paul. Keep up the good work. Your show's fantastic.
Thank you, great man. Christian Ziegler there from the GOP in Florida. The seal of approval ending Trump time.